let's talk about some Lego Star Wars. You've been playing a bunch of it recently, and
I have.
I've been wanting to do an episode on this as we're waiting for more content to come around for Star Wars, specifically on the gaming side, but we'll also be covering some stuff on the podcast for broader than just gaming. But the big focus is gaming. So we want to go back in time and talk about some of the best and sometimes the worst games in the Star Wars universe. One of my personal favorites and one of the things that got me deeper into the world of Star Wars were the Lego Star Wars games. Starting with the first one, played that on GameCube, and then the second one, and then the complete saga on the Wii. What really got you started with the Lego Star Wars games?
Welcome
to Uplink.
That's a good question. I think because I had I had the original video game and so I think it was just called Lego Star Wars the video game, which is the prequels, and then either that same year or a year later they brought out the original trilogy, and then a year after that or something like that they brought out the complete saga, which was all of them combined. So I had the video game and the original trilogy on the PS2. So I was just playing that loads, like each of them all the time. I remember one night, me and my brother went to bed. You know, we were young, so we went to bed fairly early. Woke up at midnight, went downstairs, played Battlefront 2, like 2005, on the PS2 for like 6 hours, and then for the last hour we played the original not the original one, the original trilogy for an hour, and then we went to school that day. So from midnight to 7 a.m. we were playing Star Wars games basically. So so ever since I was really young, I was just always into Star Wars, and Star Wars gaming always, played a massive part in my life. And then the Nintendo Wii came out, and we got that, and we got Lego Star Wars the complete saga on there, which was really fun. So it's just they were just bought for us. I think we were already huge Lego fans, huge Star Wars fans as well, and just always played that. And my granddad had a PS2 for many, many years, like all the way up until, I mean, he might still have it, to be fair, but he had the video game, so just 1, 2, and 3 on there. So most of the time when we went to my grandparents, me and my brother would play on the PS2 and play the video game. So yeah, just lots of playtime on it over the many years of existence.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of the best parts around the Lego games. So they are such a tentpole experience for Star Wars fans. When EA got the license for Star Wars, I was so glad that it excluded things like the Lego Star Wars games. I'm glad that the Lego Star Wars games are still able to be made. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll be released. Star Wars The Skywalker Saga.
Brilliant.
But they're such a huge tentpole in the Star Wars gaming world. Like there was their beginning for so many people hopping into those games. One of my favorite things about the Lego Star Wars games, and I'm really glad that they're adding it to the Skywalker Saga, is the slapstick, no dialogue in those earlier games. So you've been going through and playing a lot on your channel through the Lego Star Wars games. What has been your experience jumping back into those games from a current day perspective?
It's just a huge amount of nostalgia for me, honestly. In some of the more recent episodes, because me and my brother tended to play episode 2 and 3 the most. So it was just jumping onto these levels that we played so many times before. Remembering certain moments that happened, whether that was in the dialogue or certain places in the level that I completely forgot about. Like, it's just stuff like that. It's awesome, and it really brings back a lot of childhood memories, which is really fun. So yeah, it's always really nice just to jump back into the complete saga, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that compares to the Skywalker Saga as well, because that's kind of the main reason I really wanted to play Lego Star Wars Complete Saga on the channel, was because I wanted to put out content around Lego Star Wars that seemed like the best thing to do, and it'll be a really nice comparison when the Skywalker Saga comes out, if it ever comes out at this rate. So, yeah.
Who needs to buy that game so it comes out? Come on, studios, get it going.
Yeah, please.
Warner Brothers is having a hard time with video games right now.
They really are. Although they have confirmed that TT Games aren't part of, are indeed part of the merger. Because some people were saying that Warner Brothers games were going to sell TT Games and NetherRealm, but Warner Brothers have since denied that. So I can't help but think that this Warner Media Discovery merger is going to be playing some part in the reason why we haven't heard any news yet. I don't know. It could be nothing, but I can't help but just make an assumption based on that. So yeah.
Something's happening internally that is stopping. It's not just the Lego Star Wars games. I think they only had one game that was announced to be releasing from the Warner Media Games division, and the Arkham games that they had planned have also been delayed. We don't know when they're going to be coming out. We don't know when the Skywalker Saga is going to be coming out. It's an odd time to be a fan of the Lego Star Wars or Warner Brothers games right now.
Yeah,
and sure. I don't think many people realized that Warner Brothers had the license until pretty recently, and they started hearing all these rumblings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot, because a lot of the time you just think, you don't tend to think about Warner Brothers too much when it comes to TT games. You just think, if you hear Lego Star Wars and Lego games, you just instantly think of TT games, and Warner Brothers is not a single thought in your mind. And it's only when it kind of appears in the loading screens that you remember that, or either you remember or you realize that actually Warner Brothers are part of that as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a sticky situation at the moment with that, but I'm kind of hoping that we'll hear something soon, because we're coming up to August now. It is August now, actually. It's the 1st of August today. So some point this month we have opening night live, which is where last year we got the final trailer that we've seen for Lego Star Wars, I believe. So it's been a very long time since then. So yeah, it's weird that we've come in a bit of a circle at the moment. So
yeah, put this in perspective. That game was originally planned to come out in October of 2020.
Yeah, and here we are in mid 2021, not knowing what's going on. So sad.
One day we will enjoy playing that game, but it is not this day.
Yeah. Not today.
Not today. But jumping back, what is your favorite of the Lego Star Wars games? Because I think I have an idea, but officially, what's your favorite?
I would just say Complete Saga, to be fair. A lot of it is probably more of a nostalgia point than anything for me, because I enjoy the visuals and gameplay of The Force Awakens, for example. I enjoy a lot more than Complete Saga. It's just a lot more updated, and it looks fancy, which is really, which I do like. And I do like the open world aspect that you can have, and the finding carbonite bricks, which finds classic characters and stuff like that. I really enjoy that from The Force Awakens. The Lego Clone Wars as well is awesome. I love that, but it only focuses on season 1 and 2, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was a fun game. Lightsaber combat had a pretty big update in that, as far as I can remember. It felt a lot better in that, and I really liked those massive, almost conquest-like battles that you could do in that game as well. But yeah, I definitely think that Complete Saga in most aspects is more enjoyable for me than any of the others, really.
Well, it just offers a, pun intended, complete package, really. It has both of the previous games content in there. You can have a really complete experience there if you just want to play through the entire saga 1 through 6.
Yeah.
The visuals are updated from the originals. I think my favorite though is either, I think it's, I think it may be the first one. I love how like a game dedicated to those, to the prequels, just offers some fun experiences. The little middle world of Dexter's Diner, just oh man,
Oh, that was great.
the
I love going
nostalgia.
outside and yeah, that was good.
It's so good.
That was good. Yeah. The original, like, I keep going to say the original video game, but it's just the original trilogy. The original trilogy, like, was cool with the cantina and seeing Jabba and stuff like that. And yeah, I kind of wish the complete saga almost, you know, had a bit of a mashup of both, really, like Dexter's Diner and the cantina. But yeah, Dexter's Diner and walking around there was really cool. Completing all the levels so you could do the mystery level as well was, yeah, that was really cool.
One of those cloners.
Yeah. Oh, with the mystery level as well, actually, just reminding myself, like, I really struggled. Like, me and my brother just full on never knew how to unlock it to do it. You know, and we asked a friend of ours at primary school, like, we asked him like what actually happens in it, because he told us that he'd done it, and then he was telling us like what happens in it, and we were just like completely gobsmacked. I'm pretty sure he actually lied and it wasn't what he said it was. If I remember, he was saying something about Darth Maul and something, I don't know, but or maybe he said something about A New Hope. But yeah, it was really cool to see that, and I guess it was probably a bit of a tease for them making an original trilogy game as well, actually. But I don't know. I don't know how it worked back then, but it was still really cool.
Back when those games came out, you had that's how it worked. Like you there was the internet, obviously, but like growing up playing the Lego games, you didn't really have that experience. You'd find out from a friend of a friend who found out in a magazine that he got. And by the time you got the information, it was completely different from what it was actually supposed to be. So you're just scratching your head like, what am I going to do here? I remember, I think it was the Complete Saga. A friend of ours brought over, he had written down, he went to a GameStop, opened up one of the magazines and written down all the cheat codes for the Complete Saga and gave them to us.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What a recipe for disaster.
Those good old times, man. Cheat codes.
Yeah. God,
Unlock all the characters.
Anymore,
yeah, it's weird. They were such a huge part of earlier gaming.
Yeah.
Up, right,
like
down, left. Start, select, A, B, all the things, man.
Yeah. Classics.
Yeah. Like, I love the... I've been playing through more recently... A couple months ago, I played through the second Lego Star Wars game, where they focused on the original trilogy. It's just such a fun time. The amount of nostalgia and joy I get from that game is so strong.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like what's great about these Lego games as well is it's not only, you know, going back and playing them now, is it nostalgia for, you know, just for those games, but also because it's, you know, focusing on these films that we've grown up knowing and loving. Like, it's almost just really, you know, nostalgic for our experiences watching the films and being able to play them and stuff like that as well, which is something that it's kind of something that I feel like most games probably won't get the opportunity to do, considering no other games like really focus on, you know, the films themselves. They like might link to certain films, but they don't obviously, you know, you don't play through any of the films in these games. So
yeah, and
I think
like,
it's a unique thing that they have.
It is, and we no longer have like the Revenge of the Sith games type things. Like, we don't have.
Yeah.
There was for a while, even like Harry Potter, the games that came out with Harry Potter to tie into the movies. Some of those were great, some of them were crappy, but we got them, and it was such a fun experience to play through the movies in a more like you are in charge of the characters. Like, I think that's one of the best things about the Lego games is you can play through these iconic moments and you get the sense that you're completing. You're further steeped into the world and the characters with the games. Also, stay tuned to the YouTube channel because I will be reacting to the Lego Star Wars games, and that'll be up on the channel, on the trailers. But I already filmed it, but I was reacting to them, and I'd forgotten the marketing of those, but I remember vividly as I was watching through where I was at the time. And one of the things that was so fun was the character creator. Like they had made such a big deal in the marketing around the character creator, and I remember creating such wonky characters.
Yeah, that was so good. That was something I really enjoyed about the Clone Wars as well. Like, I just the environment that the character creator mix and match was actually in, I just think was really cool. So, yeah, that was awesome to have. And when it was a complete saga, when you can have all 6 films in just the mix and match instead of just the original trilogy stuff, like that was awesome.
Yeah, it's so good. I'd never played the third Lego Star Wars game when it came out. It originally launched only on the DS, and then it got expanded to other platforms. But it just took a while, and I was playing through it probably for the first time a couple years ago, just because, like, especially like when the Clone Wars first came out, I was really turned off by the animation style and didn't watch it forever. And then we watched it through a couple times with my dad. He loves the show, and we were able to watch through it in a more like, okay, yeah, it's been enough time to where I'm not surprised by the animation style, and then like you start to get used to it. But going back and playing I think I played through it last year during the pandemic and the lockdown on the Xbox. I had it on backwards compatibility, and that game is really fun. I love the detail in the episodes it covers. Like, it does such a good job of weaving you through the show.
Yeah, it does. It was really cool, and something I did like about that was that, you know, you could choose the stories that you wanted to play. Like, it wasn't like you have to complete this story arc and then go and do this story arc. Like, there was separate story arcs that you could go and choose, because it was Grievous, Ventress, and Dooku, I believe, and they have their own like paths that you can choose to play missions from, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, I think it did really well, and also took a big step for Lego games as well in those massive battles that you could do. Like, that was unseen in Lego games, and I think it's one of the things that makes that, and just the overall hub world where you can go from one ship to the other, like the Venator to the Separatist Dreadnought, and then have that space environment. They're like the 2 main things that I think makes Lego Clone Wars like unique to anything else, really.
Yeah, it still offers something very unique to this day in the Star Wars universe. Like, it's still very unique, and it, like, even the Force Awakens game didn't really capitalize on that to the extent that the third game did, which leads me to the Force Awakens game. This was a weird one. This was a really strange one, because it's kind of set the precedence that there are going to be more as the sequel trilogy came out, but there never was one.
Yeah, it feels a bit like Lego. Was it Lego Hobbit, where you only had like the first 2? Yeah, Lego Hobbit. You had like the first 2 films, right?
And then there was going to be there was a DLC announced that was going to add the third movie, but it never came out, and now you can't really download it anymore.
Yeah, so I was just like, when Lego Hobbit came out and it was just the first 2 films, I was just like, what on earth was the point? Like, why are you doing until this? The third game? Yeah, just wait until the third game comes out, then do it. I mean, I guess it's probably like a strategy to try and make more money, but it clearly didn't pay off. But yeah, it's just I did find it weird that they did a Lego game just for Force Awakens. Like, I was excited by it because it was a new Star Wars game, but it was very confusing as to why they did that, really. It's almost like, hey, Star Wars is coming back, you know, and Star Wars is coming back, let's try and capitalize on this as much as we can now. And then because what it probably was is that they did Lego Force Awakens and then took a bit of a break because they knew all these other films were coming out, and then they were like, right, let's just go and make a game with all 9 films. And yeah, that's obviously what they're doing now, so we'll see. I mean, you know, like I said before, one of the things I loved about Force Awakens was just the overall hub worlds and the fact that you could explore Jakku, Takodana, Starkiller Base, and Dakar. But I feel like it was a big difference to other Lego Star Wars games, but it was no different to just other Lego games in general, really. I mean, look at Lego Batman 2. That came out so long ago, and you could explore all of Gotham, and that was... Lego Batman 2 is probably... Well, I mean, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga is always going to be a favourite of mine, but Lego Batman 2 was incredible. Just the open world hub in that was just second to none, really, and... Lego Batman 3 was a bit disappointing because it was just like the 6 different like realms that you could, or like 6 different like lantern planets that you could go to that had quite small hubs. But the Lego Force Awakens, in terms of its hub world, was almost a bit like it was a bit of a mix between Lego Batman 2 and 3, in that it had multiple areas, but they were bigger than Batman 3, but a lot smaller than Batman 2. So. Yeah, the Lego games have been in a weird situation as they try to innovate. I personally am not the biggest fan of the Force Awakens game. Didn't really play it when it came out, because I was like, that's such a weird thing. Played it a little bit later when it went on sale. Picked it up, played through it. Visually, the game is gorgeous. Like, it does such a good job visually. But I think they try to cram too much into one game. Which is weird because the game only covers one movie, but I think they tried to innovate in too many different directions and tried to. They had the intro scene that was on Endor, that was the original trilogy, and then it went into The Force Awakens, and I don't think the game or that movie had enough content to really justify the game, if that makes sense, because the previously Star Wars games were 3 movies in one game, and you played through those movies with a selection of different levels per movie. And this one, it was just like, you're going to go through the same thing. You've got the hub worlds, which I haven't always been a fan of. I loved in the first Lego Marvel game, the open world for the city. And then I think one of the best open world, in my opinion, is the Lego Lord of the Rings game. That was so good.
Right? It's such a good open world. It immerses you into the world of the
100%.
Lord of the Rings. Like, it does such a great job. And the Hobbit game did pretty well with that, hammering down kind of the experiences specifically in Hobbiton. But I think, and Lego Batman 2, obviously, really, really good. Iconic.
Yeah.
Like, the Lego Batman games were such a great experience. And I still go back through the first game. Like, it still holds up. And I think I'd say one of the most consistent developers in gaming right now, in terms of the quality they deliver, the stories they deliver, the comedy, is Traveler's Tales, TT Games. They do such a fantastic job with who would have thought? With these games that they release, the quality and the consistency, the lack of bugs, ultimately, they do such a good job with what they create.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I can't think, out of all of the Lego games I've played, I can't really fault any of them too much, really. Lego Worlds was a bit disappointing, I thought.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it is like really solid, and I was really excited for it. But I've played the 3 Lego Batman games, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, all the Star Wars ones, Lego City Undercover, the Harry Potter ones. Like, all of them offer something really special, I think. So yeah, like, as you say, they have been very consistent, and yeah, I can't fault them in many ways, really.
Like, there's just such a solid experience, and that's what I'm really hoping for as we get closer to an eventual maybe release for the Skywalker saga. I'm really looking forward to that level of quality that they add to the gaming, and to see the worlds and the experiences and one of the biggest Lego games that they've ever made come to fruition with the Skywalker saga Lego game. I hope it opens the door for a bigger experience, and it does deliver, and we don't get into the cyberpunk experience where we're so hyped around this game because of the scale and because of some of the delays and stuff that like, oh, this, like with the amount of delays that they've had, they shouldn't, like, I expect there to be no bugs, and I expect it to be even more polished than when it was originally, because they've had another whole year to work on it. So I just hope that they use that time wisely. Obviously, our expectations need to be a little bit lower because it is they had to deal with the pandemic in a different way, and they've had to work from home. So there's obviously some of that stress and delay in development time. But we've seen movies and games come out past that have done really good. So
yeah, for sure.
When do you expect to see it? Like when are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, it is a bit of a tough one. I'd like to see it late this year, honestly, but I would probably say like early to mid next year is my best guess. Like following on from what you were just saying as well, like I had a bit of a mind blank there, but I just think, you know, with the amount of delays they've had, they just shouldn't honestly say anything until they're done.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think, you know, they don't need to keep saying, oh yeah, we're going to release it this, you know, around this window.
Yeah, if you set a time, you better release it, because like if they say that it's going to be released another time and they delay it again, I don't think people are going to really appreciate that. No,
they absolutely won't. Like I personally, I don't mind. Like if they need to delay it, that's fine. And if you give us release dates, then you have to delay them. Like, yes, it's frustrating, but I get it. Like, fine. But
I understand and appreciate delays.
Yeah, I do just think they need to stop saying anything like they have been the last almost year. I just think they need to crack on, complete the game, and then once they've gone gold or they're basically very close to it, then say something, you know, chirp up and say something then. I do think we could see a release later this year, but I'd absolutely expect the first half of next year at the latest.
Yeah. I think first quarter, early summer of next year, I think we'll see something. Hopefully later this year we'll see or hear some news around it. Like I don't know if we were talking about this in this podcast or before. This podcast, like the whole acquisition of Warner Brothers Media, and that whole thing is definitely messing with the internal teams that, like, I would say, honestly, if I was one of the parts of that acquisition, I'd kind of be like, well, let's just wait and see before we sink any more effort into it, because we don't know necessarily what direction the new overlords are going to be having for the company. Because they could be in the position where, you know, they just sell off. They sell off Traveler's Tales, and like that could happen.
I mean, it absolutely could, but it absolutely could, but I just think it'd be a huge mistake for them.
It would be. Warner Brothers, as just a company, the movie side of things, is in a rough spot. Like they've been getting bounced around so frequently last, I'd say, 5 to 10 years. They've been going through many different changes. The directors have been unhappy. Fans have been unhappy with some of the decisions they've made with keeping certain actresses and letting other actors go.
I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday.
They should definitely make some changes there and stop defending some known people.
I agree.
They have some issues. Obviously, a lot of other companies have some issues right now too that we won't get into. But I think there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainty in Warner Brothers and Traveler's Tales right now, which it's a shame to see, because they've got a game that was intending to be released. It's been delayed a couple times. So in theory, it should be pretty far along, and they're just waiting for the proper time and what because the longer that they wait, the more time they sink into it. The more hype gets built up, the more expectations are put on the game. the more expectations from a performance side of things also get put onto the game. Like,
yeah, the pressure just builds up. That's the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure the way they were doing it was they were doing the first, like, because at the time of development, or like at a key stage, they'd already worked on the first 8 films, or all of the first 8 films would have probably been very far along, but The Rise of Skywalker wasn't out yet, so they weren't, and they didn't get any early screenings or anything, as far as I'm aware, because they didn't want things to be leaked and stuff.
Yeah.
So they worked on the first 8 games, and then they were essentially finishing off the rest of it with The Rise of Skywalker. So, I mean, obviously, that's not saying that all 8 episodes would have been completed along with the rest of the game. That's obviously not the case. But
yeah,
the
game's at least feature ready.
The whole game. Yeah, they would have been. They would have been very far along with a lot of the game already, and a lot of the, just a lot of the episodes as well. So, yeah, you would think they'd be very, very far along now, and that we should hear something soon. But we'll see. I mean, literally, so tomorrow, it would have been 4 months ago that the game got delayed, because it was April 2nd at 3 p.m. I don't know if it was BST.
I like how you know that to the exact time.
Oh, the only reason why I know that's the exact time was because I was with a friend. I was at the supermarket Tesco, or just outside. We were having lunch, and so I was hanging out with him because I hadn't seen him in a while. And I released the trailer for my virtual, or like the teaser trailer for my virtual production at the same time. So that's the only reason why I know. So yeah, literally 4 months ago tomorrow we got the delay. So yeah, I'd honestly expect to hear something very soon, whether that's good news or not. But we'll see. We will see. Yeah.
And we were talking about this before recording. Star Wars Hunters should be hopefully getting some news soon, or at least mention it in an investors meeting. We'll see. It's also one of those games I could see getting delayed again.
Yeah, I do think Hunters. Well, I don't want to say anything yet, because I honestly just want to wait and see anything next week to see if there's any mention for it. Next Thursday night, because I mean, we just haven't heard anything. They've clearly outlined their plans in early May. That was just their last investor report. They said that they were still on track for early summer soft launch and 2021 global release. So it's something's clearly changed over the last few months, or it certainly feels like that. So we'll hear about that very soon. And yeah, it's been a very difficult time for Star Wars gamers, that's for sure. Very difficult.
We're in the dark times right now, again.
We really are. we really are in the dark times, but yeah, once we get past this year, I do genuinely think it's gonna pick up again. Or even like early next year might be a bit rough as well, but
I think with EA Play, we're gonna see Jedi Fallen Order 2, and that's the only thing I'm 100% sure that we're going to see is Jedi Fallen Order 2. I don't even want to get my hopes up that we'll see more than that. Obviously, we'd love to see more of it. But there's been so much turmoil inside of EA. There's been a lot of changes. They've gotten a lot of... They've had an interesting time. They've had some acquisitions, Codemasters. There's a lot going on at EA.
There really is, yeah.
They've got a huge effort towards Battlefield because that's such an important thing. Also, if you like Battlefield, check out the Battlefield show. We do every Friday. Good plug there. There's some things happening inside of EA, and I don't expect we'll see a lot of Star Wars in that push. I mean, they've said they double down, but I think that's marketing talk right now. I don't think they have doubled down. They're doing the same thing that they've been doing. They want to release a Star Wars game in a set time frame. If they don't release that set, if there isn't one set up for that time frame, they just nix the project. And hopefully that changes.
Yeah.
But Respawn's still hiring, so we don't have a good look at kind of like what their intentions are with the Star Wars franchise. What I would love to see though is like a sizzle reel or something, some mention that they have, even if they say, yo, in the next 5 years, we're going to release 2 games. Good. We understand. We have expectations. Maybe something changes, but who knows, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think my expectation is that we'll see them first at Star Wars Celebration in late May next year, and that will give us a reveal trailer for Jedi Fallen Order 2 and also just like a sizzle reel or just talking about other plans beyond that. And then EA Play Live, we might get a further sizzle of some kind. We'll probably get gameplay of Fallen Order 2 at that point as well. So we'll see. I think just in general stuff, like I think we'll see a fair bit from EA next year, and then just on top of that, we should have a great time with gaming. I mean, Star Wars Hunters at the moment, they are still very actively hiring for that project, so it's not cancelled.
This is good.
It could very well be delayed, but so it's certainly not cancelled. And it won't be. I'm confident that it won't be because of how big it is for Zynga.
Yeah, and it's Zynga, not EA.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people still get confused by that. Actually, is that they're aware that Zynga are making, like publishing it, but they still think EA is somehow involved, which they're not.
Which is a good thing.
It's just worth clarifying that because they're just not involved, and a lot of people do keep getting confused by that. But whether that's delayed from this year to early next year or at all, like we'll see something from them, no doubt. Like if the game is out at that point, maybe Boss Alien and Zynga will be at Celebration next year to talk about some new content or something.
Yeah,
we could maybe have something, a little something from Ubisoft, nothing massive, but maybe a little tease of some kind. Although I'm certainly not going to go in expecting that. And then there's just other games that are yet to be announced. Honestly, we could just hear stuff there, so we'll see. I think, like I said to you before we started recording, next year I think is going to be big for news, but not games as such. Like we'll get at least one game next year for sure, but it's just mostly going to be news about like upcoming releases or updates on things like that. But then 2023 onwards, I think that's when we'll start seeing more regular releases come.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I don't know if we'll get something in terms of a game that can be played unless, like, if we get Hunters this year, I don't expect we'll see a Star Wars game next year, but I could see Hunters getting delayed until next year as maybe they ran into an issue with crossplay or putting it out on an actual console in terms of the Switch. They're going to be dealing with different approvals than they normally have in that regard. They're doing a lot of new things, and I think they're still figuring out, like, we still don't know what kind of game exactly it's going to be in terms of specifics. But I think next year we're going to get a lot more news on what's going on with the Star Wars license in terms of gaming. We're going to get a lot more TV shows. Obviously, that's a thing that we're going to get more of. So it's a bright future. It's just we're in the dark times right now.
We are, yeah. We're in the dark times, but there is a rising sun coming up. So
we can see the light. It's far away, but we can see it.
We can. Battlefront 2 mod fans will appreciate what I just said as well. Dark Times, right? The Dark Times Rising Sun mod is very good.
Yes.
But yeah, that was a reference to that. But this is the thing. I like to pride myself on my optimism, honestly. Sometimes it might be too optimistic.
You are ridiculously optimistic, man. It's appreciated and also infuriating sometimes.
But yeah, I do like my optimism, and it does keep me motivated as well. Like, yeah, we're in a really crappy time, but I like looking ahead to the future and thinking that there is a future there, because I do genuinely believe that there is. So I want to, I just really want to try and ride that wave, be a bit of a, hopefully positive voice with the optimism, but hopefully not too annoying with that as well. But should be. It's rough at the moment, and it has been it's been a rough time since Battlefront 2 ended. Squadrons last year was really awesome, but that was obviously short lived. So.
Sadly.
I mean, yeah, like I've still played it fairly regularly over the last few weeks to complete my daily challenges for the Operation Challenge. And it's such an amazing game, and I love it. But obviously, its content life cycle was so short lived, which was expected because obviously that's what we were told. But yeah, it was a small but fun experience that I just I do wish we got more of. But yeah, like I said, it's been rough the last year and a half or so, but things will pick up.
They will.
They'll get into a good position for us.
Yep, there's stuff to look forward to. It's far away. It's far away. But stay tuned to the channel. We'll be breaking down some of the past games like we did in this episode, talking about not Lord of the Rings, Lego Star Wars games. In the future, we'll have Andrew Bombastic and possibly Eckhart's Ladder on to talk about Star Wars Racer. So stay tuned for that. Make sure if you're not following the feed that you do so. That way it's automatically downloaded. It's 100% free. And if you do so, we would love to hear your support on a review or on Twitter or on email, battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com or contact@uplinkpodcast.com. Either way, we would love to hear your feedback, or if you have topics or people that you'd love to see on the podcast, definitely come let us know. And be sure to check out Mark's channel, SplitScreen Star Wars, and all the content that he's got going on over there. He's been doing a bunch of shorts recently. Yeah. How's shorts been for you?
They've been awesome, actually. Like, I'm a very gaming focused creator, but I'm doing a series of shorts, which is like I've titled them Star Wars Q&A shorts. So, basically people will ask me a question related to Star Wars, and then I'll answer that through a short, which I think it's a really fun piece of content to make, because it allows me to focus on just the broader range that Star Wars has. My short from yesterday got into the algorithm and blew up to 1.6k views within 24. I mean, it's been less than 24 hours and it's now 1.6k views, which is amazing. With the rough times we've had statistically, the channel's not been doing well, so it's really nice to see it bump back up again. But yeah, it really allows me just to focus on the broader topics of Star Wars without having to put in a huge amount of effort for it, whilst also getting my community engaged with that. And I think people like to see themselves in a video. I had one guy comment saying, "Oh my god, I'm famous," which obviously isn't the case, but people like to see themselves up there as well. And I just think having that interaction with the community is really fun. So yeah, I'd honestly recommend shorts to any aspiring creator. Honestly, I really can't recommend them enough.
I was reading this article that said if you are on YouTube and you're not using shorts, then you are viewing YouTube wrong. It's such a huge part. It
really is.
A little inside baseball talk here, but shorts, TikTok videos, like they're all such an important tool in a creator's tool belt. And it's good to be like people's attention spans getting shorter and shorter. The algorithms are showing shorter and shorter content. So it's a big part of it. And
it is.
Yeah, it's huge, but short.
It is massive. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a huge, as a creator, it's a huge payoff for as little work, really. Because I mean, a Q&A short, like it has to be less than 60 seconds. So it's literally 15 minutes of works max for such a huge reward. I mean, in terms of a monetization standpoint, they earn like no money whatsoever, but obviously that's not necessarily going to be something you're focusing on. Just everything else, though, it smashes. So yeah,
engagement, views, new subscribers, they all come from shorts.
Yeah, subscribers actually is a really big thing as well. Like because the shorts algorithm like will guarantee. I mean, sometimes they won't get into the algorithm for a while, and when they do, they may get like a few hundred views instead of like a few thousand, but they'll always show them to a lot of very new people to your channel. So there will be times where you upload a short and you'll suddenly get 5 new subscribers Whereas a video, you might lose one or you might only gain one or two. Yeah, shorts for growing a channel. Shorts is really good, really really good.
The first short I put out got 900 views in one day.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, some people have like I've seen. There's a Star Wars channel who he created his channel only 6 months ago. He posted about 3 normal length videos, and then since then has just been posting shorts, and he's now on like 50k subs.
It's how it works,
in
man.
6 months. Yeah,
it's wild.
Yeah. So basically, any aspiring creator, get on shorts.
Get short, man.
Do it.
Do it. Anyway, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast, and thank you all
worries.
so
Thanks
much
for
listening. Of course. It's been a while.
It has. But it's been a
Also,
pleasure.
if you're listening to the Battlefield show, definitely stay tuned because I haven't even talked to Mark about this, but we may be having him on the podcast at some point.
Oh, hello. I know that.
So a little tease, and if you're listening to that show, which you definitely should, because Battlefield's awesome and the show's
It
awesome.
is
It's always a fun time.
big. Good stuff. Love it. 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 Stuff. Love it.